hello, and welcome to our show. We're so glad you joined us for The Love of Animals. Don't go away because Delilah's here. I'm Darlene Pickford.
And I'm Greg Bauer. And I want to tell our viewers that this is the first of two shows on the topic of animal control and that sort of thing here in McCracken County. And so you'll want to stay tuned for that second one.
Well, before we get started, Greg, what are some upcoming shows?
Well, we're going to do one hopefully about hunting dogs.
Yes.
And one on protecting your pet. And if your viewers have any ideas for topics,
Right.
we'd love to hear them.
And believe it or not, the one on hunting dogs will be done by one of our local ladies. So tune in for that show. Well, Greg, as you mentioned, we're going to be doing something about animal control, part one right now. And why don't you introduce our guest?
Be more than happy to. This is Chryss George down here. At the end, she is the McCracken County Animal Control Officer and has been doing that since December. And she brought her sidekick Delilah with her today. We'll get a chance to hear more about Delilah a little bit later. But Chryss, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and to be with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, tell us about your fur family, including Delilah.
Well, I guess my fur family, I've always had a dog all my life. And Delilah came to me in March of 2009 from a local shelter.
Uh-huh.
And then we snagged her friend Cammie from a shelter. And Cammie's a kind of a border collie husky mix.
Uh-huh.
And the two of them are thick as thieves. And that's my fur family.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I understand in your background that you have been a dog trainer.
Yes, I did have my own business as a positive reinforcement dog trainer.
Wow. So Delilah is a very well-behaved dog.
For the most part. For the most part.
Well, tell us about your background now in animal control. You must obviously love animals.
I do. I've always had my heart in rescue, and seems to be a perfect fit. I thoroughly enjoy, and no 2 days are the same.
Well, that's true when you're in rescue work, and it's 24/7, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Witnessed a few nights ago.
Yes, yes.
Well, educate us. Generically, what are your responsibilities as our animal control officer here in McCracken County?
To make sure that our people, as well as our animals of this area, are safe. You know, sometimes, as we all know, animals can endanger people.
Right.
So
Yes.
we make sure that any vicious animals are taken care of within the laws, and then the other way around from the people, we need to make sure the animals are safe and well taken care of, and I enforce our ordinances and that type of thing.
And what kind of police powers do you have?
Any laws that are broken basically with animals, whether they be Kentucky, the county, or the city ordinances, I can write a citation up to and including seizing the animals, seeking out a summons, that type of thing where needed.
Okay, so there's some starch in your position.
There is. There is.
How much staff do you have?
I have myself and 2 other officers, and all 3 of us are full-time.
Okay.
And that would be Joe Parmley.
Uh-huh.
He's my, I guess you'd say, 3rd in command, and Catherine Coleman's my 2nd in command.
Okay.
And what, Greg?
Oh. Go on.
Okay. What have you found to be the biggest situations here in McCracken County that you've had to deal with, say within the last month?
Well, we've had a lot of dogs running at large, and we've been cracking down on that. In the county, they've just updated some things, and we've been working within the new, they're calling it a leash law, but it's not really, but dogs running at large. And then in the county, now that they've changed that, it's the second time witnessed by an officer or animal control officer or video evidence, then we start taking action on that.
Okay.
Okay, and the actions would be the ones that...
Citations and seizing and that type of thing. If they're not going to start listening, we're going to have to seize it.
Ooh, okay, well, that does make sense because, you know, it's all right if I let the dog on my property run loose, but not on my neighbor's property.
That's right.
I mean,
right.
you know, I don't have the right to do that, or I would not think I would have the right to do that.
Right.
What's the difference between the city and the county?
They each have their own ordinances.
Okay.
And the city has a very strict leash law. Anytime the dog is out, it needs to be under the control of the owner. They also have, in addition to the leash law, is if they're at a public event, like say barbecue on the river,
On the river,
they need to be muzzled. And a lot of people fail to remember that, but that's a city ordinance.
You know, I've been on a lot of,
And on a 4-foot leash.
I've been to a lot of barbecues on the rivers. I don't think I've ever, you know.
Right. And we're going to start putting our teeth into our ordinances that are there, because we have to.
You know, that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
That really makes a lot of sense.
Of course, I'm not really sure why you would want to take your dog to something like barbecue on the river.
Well,
with all the people and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's fun to take your dog on
Well,
an
I know,
outing,
but,
but it's, you know, usually it's so crowded.
right.
But, you
It
know.
would be kind of scary from the eyes of a dog down there looking up, and there are all these legs passing you, but it sure would smell good.
Well, that's true, and if the dog went one time, I'm sure he would want to go back all the time.
Got that right.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're approaching the point where we want to take a quick break.
Okay.
And we have the first one with a happy tale about
Guess who?
Chris's friend Delilah,
Delilah.
who is over here. So give a listen.
Delilah is a 5-year-old mixed breed. She loves to play at the dog park and take long rides with her owner, Chryss. Delilah is also a greeter at the Paducah Dog Park and loves to meet new people and dogs. She knows quite a few tricks, and her favorite is to bow. She's a very spoiled, lovely lady.
Welcome back. We hope that you've enjoyed that little tale about Delilah. You can see, if you've seen her this afternoon here so far, she's a real sweetheart.
Yes,
And,
she is.
Our guest today is Chryss George, who's the Animal Control Officer for McCracken County. And Chryss, let's take a quick review of the different ordinances that you're responsible for both in the city and the county.
Okay. Okay. You have anything particular in mind?
No, just kind of run through them to remind our viewers of what they can do and what they can't do.
Okay. Well, we want the leashes on in the city.
Okay.
We do want at least the minimal care, which is food, water, shelter. They're the big things that we look for. And that's city and county, the food, water, shelter. And then in the county, we're starting to put some teeth in that, where if they're continuously at large, there's going to be an issue. We've just had that update in our law, we witnessed it 2 times, or it's got video evidence. As far as cruelty, we're really putting force into that as well. We don't want to see our animals not taken care of.
Well, one of the problems I think we see sometimes is that people have a tendency to chain their animals outside and leave them without possibly food and water or in adverse weather conditions. And I guess it's just a matter of the people realizing that these animals are just like little humans.
Like
That
little children.
Yeah,
They do
and that
rely on us to take care of them. And if we have one, then we assume that responsibility. Even if we take in a stray, it's not forever, not hours. After feeding it for a period of time, it's ours. So.
What about, say, if I'm taking a dog into a public place like barbecue on the river or something like that?
They do need to be muzzled. In the city, any event in the city, they have to be muzzled. They have to be on a 4-foot or smaller in length leash. And there's something that we're not budging about. Technically, before you go into one of these events, there's a sign that tells you your dog must be muzzled and leashed. That serves as the warning. So, and I don't want to go out there and write 20-some citations every day, but we're going to start putting teeth in it. So, I mean, it's going to start happening.
What do you think public reaction is going to be? I understand why, because dogs bite, and particularly in new circumstances with new people and baby strollers, and it's not a place for a dog.
It's not, and it's also, there's people that are allowed to be there that are terrified of dogs.
That is true.
And to see a dog that's muzzled makes that a whole lot easier, because they know that they can't really hurt them at that point. And they have the right to be there and not be in fear of their life because they're terrified of dogs. So we've got to keep other people in mind too. We don't want dogs molesting passerbys, whether they're riding a bicycle. We're not tolerating these things any longer.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I think it is reasonable if a pet, if you'll just sit and think about it. You know your animal,
Right.
but the best of animal in different circumstances can have unpredictable behavior, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, we know that we've been talking about dogs so far, and the question then becomes, what about cats and what about other animals? Say, I know in Paducah, it's against the law to have like a pig in the city or something like that, or a cow.
Can we have chickens?
Not in the city.
Not in the city,
Not in
okay.
the city. I'm sorry, I just
How
lost my
about the
train of
issue
thought
with
because
cats?
my phone is, hold on one second. I told everyone, so no one should be. Okay.
All right, that gives us a perfect break. How can our viewers contact you for more information, or if supposedly they needed to contact your office?
Absolutely. That would be 444-8550.
All right, that's 270?
Right, that's 270.
And I understand that's a dispatch.
That is Central Dispatch, yes.
Would you explain that to our viewers?
We get all of our information through our radios. They like to keep tabs of us too for our safety.
Right, for your safety.
And so any information would come through us to our radio. They often take a name and number and we'll just call you right back
Okay.
on our cell phones.
So if you don't answer the phone, I should understand, right?
Right.
Because
right.
you're out in the field.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, the point is when you call that number, somebody is there 24/7
Correct.
Right.
to
Correct.
answer it.
And we do take after hours calls, case by case basis if it's an emergency.
Right.
But-
Priority
right.
basis.
And our hours, I mean, we're pretty much 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we are 7 to 5.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll backtrack now. We're talking. Let's get on the area of cats
Right?
and the word nuisance.
Yes.
Help us understand that.
Cats technically are a free roaming animal,
Right.
so that's not one that we enforce. They're allowed to be off their leashes.
Well, that's good because you'd have to help me train a cat to be on a leash.
Yes.
I'd like to.
But so there's not a whole lot to enforce. Now, of course, if there's cruelty involved, we do enforce that. But picking up cats, we don't, because they're considered a free roaming animal. I am attempting to get several different grants. I'm applying for a trap spay neuter release.
And I think that would be wonderful.
I think it would as well. I think it would be great for our community, and it doesn't fix the problem today.
No.
But it does in the future.
Down the road.
Yes.
It certainly does help.
One of the other problems, and I don't know if there's an ordinance for this, is that animals that you find loose out sometimes do not have any kind of collar identification on them.
Correct. We do want licenses on there. Delilah, hey, come here. I'll show you
Okay.
on her collar. It's just some.
Yeah, I noticed she had a special collar on.
Well, yes. This county license really helps with us being able to get a dog back. And it just simply has a little 4-digit number on it.
Uh-huh.
And that really helps. I do wish everyone would have their rabies tags on, because you never know when something will happen, and that immediately, I don't have to go home and look through paperwork to find that information. It is right there. And then, of course, I wish everyone would have their tag with their name and information on it. With these things, that's the first thing we look for. That dog would never really be exposed to the shelter if I could just take it straight home.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
So, she obviously has a microchip as well.
It's another good thing.
Right.
Now, you mentioned a license. Do dogs have to have licenses?
A McCracken County license, yes.
Okay.
And it gives us reason to pick them up.
Okay.
So,
And the viewers can obtain those from the county courthouse?
right, they can get them from the county courthouse. We have them on our trucks.
Oh.
Several vets in the area do, and I can't think of the ones offhand.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then there's at the shelter as well, which is at 455 County Park Road,
That's
across
right.
from the soccer fields.
Okay. And if a person does not have a license on their animal, what is the
What happens?
penalty? I'm not sure, that's not the right word, but what can
What
happen?
happens?
It can, if your dog's out there being a nuisance and that type of thing, it can give me a reason to pick them up. It's just one thing that's being violated.
Right.
It adds to charges if something does happen. It's just a small little $3 thing that
It's an
is-
annual thing.
Right, right. And it also allows our community to know how many animals we have, which, you know, a lot of things can be based on that. So,
Particularly in grants and the need.
And
You have to
grants, yeah.
document the need. You can't just
Exactly.
say, we have a bunch of dogs or cats that
Right.
need to be spayed and neutered. Grant people like to know specifically,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
some more detail. So
Yes.
that's certainly good to know. How many dogs do you recently have been returned to their owners because you found a license on them?
recently, in the past several weeks,
Yes.
probably
And I
four,
ma-
3 to 4.
And I imagine those were 3 or 4 happy owners, right?
Yes, yes. And what helps even more, because sometimes if it's, you know, later in the evening and I can't get in touch with the courthouse, I don't have software that looks it up on the computer. You know, when you spend the $3 on the tag, immediately turn around and go somewhere else. There are several places that sell them. Get a tag on your dog with your name and address and information. I cannot tell you how much that $6 tag can help you. And also if it can prevent you from having to go and pay that impound fee. We'll give you a verbal warning if we can. I mean, we'll document it. That's going to be a one-shot thing.
Right.
But it can save you some money.
Plus, retrieve your animal.
Right. And we understand accidents happen.
Yes.
But we want to try to get the dog home as quick as possible, and, you know, instead of having to pay and expose your dog to a shelter. I mean, they get scared there too.
Oh, it's very stressful.
Yes.
They may get food and water, but it's very
Right.
stressful when they're not at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we want to take another short break and
Oh boy,
listen to
time
another
passes
happy tale. I know it is.
when you're having fun.
This is one about Twiggy.
Okay.
And I think you viewers will really enjoy this one. And I know Chryss would like to add some things after we finish seeing this little short tale. So give a listen.
Twiggy was Chryss's first cruelty case. When Chryss arrived and saw that Twiggy was far too thin, she seized Twiggy along with 6 other dogs. Twiggy immediately started gaining weight, and her personality is so wonderful. She soon flourished. Her story shows what an animal rescue can become. Twiggy loves her new family. Her new family also says that they wouldn't take anything in the world for her. She has her own play area inside and outside, along with children and 2 small playmate dogs that she absolutely loves.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that little tale about.
It's delightful.
It absolutely is. And Chryss, maybe some things you'd like to add about Twiggy. I think she was your first.
First big rescue. She was a sweetheart, but she was so skinny. She's gone to a great home. She put on weight rather well and rather quickly. Very proud of Twiggy.
Oh, that's neat.
Those are the kind of stories we like to hear
those
about.
are kind of the stories we like to hear.
Go
ahead.
No, I was going to say, one of the things we'd like to remind our viewers, we've had some questions about where can they find our show other than on Channel 2. I don't have cable. And so what you can do is you can go to YouTube, and if you search for Love of Animals Paducah, you'll find our shows there. And we're also on Facebook.
Oh,
Everybody's
yes.
on Facebook. And if you go through Paducah 2, you'll find references to For the Love of Animals. And you can see the show anytime you want, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you don't have to worry about the TV schedule.
Wow.
And Chryss, we were talking about, you know, when you do have a rescue and you have to take an animal to our shelter. Where is our shelter located, and how can they be contacted?
They can be contacted. We have a phone number at 270-448-1570. And then they are located at 455 County Park Road. And that's right here in Paducah, and that's right across from the Juvenile Detention Center.
This is Delilah. Hey, sweetheart. Yes, I was talking about you. Yes.
She's a kisser, Delilah.
Delilah, that's all right. And I'm sure that Leslie Hannon, the director out there, would be glad to help
Yes,
you.
Leslie Hannon, she's a great director inspector out
Yes, she
there.
is.
She loves the animals just like we all do, and she takes great care of them.
Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs.
She
So
did
all the animals out
She
there.
did the cat house for us, and our viewers are welcome to go and find that show out on YouTube or Facebook that Leslie did. So
And-
we're real proud of the fact that our county is taking good care of both cats and dogs.
Yes.
Yes, Delilah. Yes.
I think Delilah says thank you.
In fact, you were telling me a very interesting story about Delilah and a little living thing.
Yes.
Would you share that with us?
Delilah has saved a kitten. She tried bringing in a kitten into our house, and I kind of got onto her because I thought she was bringing in her stick, and I kept telling her to drop it at the door, but she brought it on in. It was a baby kitten. It didn't have its eyes open. I ran outside to see if the mom or the other
Right.
kittens were out there. I couldn't find anything, and she had curled up. She doesn't go in her crate often, but she went on in there and curled up and had it up against her tummy. I ran and got some milk, and then came home, and she was trying to nurse her little kitten.
Bless
And
her
she's
heart.
been spayed and everything, so she just wanted a little baby for a little bit there.
And
Is
what-
she a member of your fur family now?
No,
What happened?
unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh.
Delilah howled, woke me
Howled.
up howling when
Oh,
she
that-
passed away.
Yeah.
What a delightful dog to care for a kitten.
Yes, she is a sweetheart, and she loves all dogs and cats and everything.
Well, which leads, tell us maybe your favorite rescue story of whenever.
Or one or two stories.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite rescue story would be, this is corny, but anyone where the animals come out fine, where the dog or cat comes out happy and good.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
That's
so
not
there's.
corny.
tell us one we haven't heard.
And how about, I think Twiggy's probably my favorite, and then I've saved some horses as well.
Okay.
Well, tell us about the horse then.
There's been horses that we've had that were very thin and appeared to be neglected. Brought them into our care. We were awarded one of them during trial, and it had flourished in our care, and it's been adopted out, and it's got a great forever home.
Oh, that's wonderful. But Chris, in all of this, who took care of the horse?
Well, we did as animal control at their location. We just went out and fed them and took care of them and brushed them out and all that good stuff.
But you didn't plan that in your day-to-day job, though, did you, at that time?
At that time, no, but we rolled with it, and we still have horses in our care, and they're a part of our daily operations. We clean out their stalls. Both my other officers are mainly the ones that clean out the stalls. I do a touch-up job in the mornings, and I feed them, and they feed them in the afternoons, and it works out great.
And they have to have vet care
Oh, absolutely.
and be checked out. I mean, I think that's marvelous, and I really commend the county. I'm a pet
thank you.
lover, and that does include horses
Yes.
that need help too.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Okay, suppose, Chris, that I see a case of what I think may be abuse.
Okay.
What should I do?
You should immediately go ahead and pick up that phone and call the 444-8550. And that'll be, again, Central Dispatch. And what they're going to do is they're going to immediately go ahead and get the officer that's available at that moment or closest to your location.
Okay.
uh-huh.
Now, would my identity be held confidential? For example, this is my next door neighbor,
Absolutely.
and I don't want them to necessarily know that I've reported a case of abuse on my neighbor's part.
Absolutely. We have that quite often, and we do keep it confidential, and we try to handle it in a way that the neighbors continue to get along. And, you know, it's not bad to have us come knocking at someone's door either. If I came knocking on your door,
Oh my,
you know, most people want to appreciate that because we're just doing our job. And it may be something that was perceived as one thing and it was something else.
sometimes people, they know, but they just don't think. And
Right.
that can happen to
Right.
any of us.
Right.
We forget about how hot it is outside when
Yes.
we're sitting inside in air conditioning,
Yes,
right?
Right. And so, you know, sometimes, you know, we just go out there and, you know, we're not out there being mean about it. We want to handle it as nice as possible and just get through it for everyone. And, you know, we do welfare checks to make sure everything's okay.
Oh,
All kinds of things, you know, because sometimes people know that they have an animal, but they don't know that these animals are maybe inside all the time. And that's okay too. We just check it out.
all right, so in other words, if we suspect that maybe their welfare, their food, water, or something, we
Right.
could just say, we're concerned, we think, and you would do a welfare check
Correct.
Oh, I think that's marvelous.
Yes.
I really.
Well, now, we've mentioned 3 animals, cats, dogs, and horses. What other unusual animals might you have been called upon to do some rescue work with?
I love this question. We no longer do wildlife. We have to let Kentucky Fish and Wildlife handle that.
Yeah, you have to be licensed to do the wildlife.
Yes. But we've handled cows. We've had many cows get out in the road. We don't like for that to happen, and please make sure your cows are properly contained. And we also, we've handled chickens, all different kinds of poultry.
And like I said, we can't have chickens in the city now, right?
No,
No,
I
but you
can't have
can, you can in the county.
Can in the county. Well,
Can in the county.
that's okay. That's the rules. So,
Yeah.
but now possums and raccoons and things like that,
We don't handle
you
it.
would have to refer us to a wildlife
Right.
rehabilitator.
That's
And,
correct.
all right. So, and if we were gonna, if one of suppose we found an injured raccoon or an injured possum, and we're an animal lover.
I'd start looking for the nearest rehabber.
Okay.
And try to get in touch with them to take that on for you.
Okay. All right. Well,
And just to follow up real quickly with that, where could I find the name of a wildlife rehabilitator? Who would have that information?
I would Google.
Google, okay.
I don't know really of any in the area.
I didn't know if there might be, say, something through your office or
Right,
something
yeah,
in
we
the
don't-
courthouse that
we
might
don't
have that
keep-
information.
Keep a list of them really.
Okay. All right.
yeah, I know someone, but they're retired.
Well, we know another one too.
Right. Well, now we have gotten a lot of information,
Yes, we have.
Chryss, about your position. I mean, and I have a better understanding of what you do. What do you want our viewers to remember? What message would you like to give to our viewers that you really want them to remember and take to heart?
Well, no question is too small or too large. Please always give us a call at 444-8550. We will be more than happy to help out, go assist, anything that we can animal related, and do these welfare checks and that type of thing. If you think that your dog is missing or your cat is missing, we would like for you to invite you out, and I know Leslie Hannon, the shelter director, would love for me to tell you, just come on out and check, because sometimes your description is not the same as ours. So it's best to just come through and check. But absolutely, go ahead, give us a call, find out whether we think we've picked it up or not. That's great.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, time has just gotten way
Oh,
away
it
from us.
does.
But Chryss, this has been such an educational session with
I've
you today.
learned a
And,
lot.
oh, I certainly have. And I know our viewers have also. And we would like to thank you very much for coming and spending time with us today. And,
And bringing Delilah.
yes. So in closing,
I'm Darlene.
I'm Greg, and we want to tell our viewers again what we do every time. Give your pet a little extra love today
Today and every day.
See you next time.
Bye.